Let's now talk about the visual style and the view options. So I'll start with the visual style or the display style option. So on the heads up toolbar, right here we have the display style option. Currently we have the shaded with edges style selected, and that's how your drawing is going to look like in the shaded with edges. I'll switch to shaded. That's the shaded view without any edge. Then we have the hidden line removed, and we have drawing with hidden lines where the hidden lines are also visible. And finally, we have the wireframe style where everything is visible in a wireframe kind of style. I'll switch it back to shaded with edges. We have the visibility options. So here you can show or hide the objects that you want to show, or maybe even hide. So if you have several sketches in the drawing, you want to hide them all, select this. So uncheck this and sketches won't show up. If you want to hide the sketch dimensions, uncheck this and dimensions won't show up. So this is just the visibility option for several objects. Then we have the appearance option. So using appearance, you can change the appearance of your part. So in this case, I have this part and its color is kind of, well, this one. If you want to change it, switch it to something else using this appearance option. So you can just select your color, click this green check mark, and the appearance has changed. Click anywhere to hide this panel as well. Now we have the scene settings here. So this will basically change the way your background looks. So right now 3-point faded background is selected, or 3-point faded scene is selected. You can change it to plain white, and that's this, a completely white background. You can change it to backdrop, soft spotlight, rooftop, country yard background, which is this, and urban 5 background, again this. So these are some of the scenes. So I'll just change it to 3-point faded scene here. Now we have some advanced options here in this view setting. So go to view setting, and currently shadows in shaded mode is checked. So let me show you what this thing is. And for that, I'll orbit my drawing so that the shadows are visible. So right now you can see these shadows here. So I'll just go to this and deactivate this, and the shadows are no longer visible here. So that's the shadow option. I'll just activate it. I do want to see the shadows here. It makes ground plane pretty visible. Then we have the ambient occlusion. So when you activate ambient occlusion, the light in your scene will bounce off different parts of the drawing, and it will affect the light and the shadow areas. So basically your drawing will look more realistic if you activate the ambient occlusion. Currently it is not changing our scene because we only have a single part and there is nothing to bounce off the light. But if you have several objects in your drawing, and if you activate ambient occlusion with that, it will add more realistic feel to your drawing. Then we have the perspective view. In the perspective view, drawing closer to you will look larger, and the things which move further away from the view will look smaller. So that's the perspective view. You can deactivate it as well. And here it is, where the default view. And then finally the cartoonish kind of view. So if you want that, well, you can just activate it. So these are some of the options. And in this case, I'll keep everything deactivated except for the first option, which is shadows in shaded mode. Now let's talk about some view options. So the view options are here in the view orientation drop down. So go to that, and here I'll start by adding some viewports. So right now we have our drawing in the single viewport. I'll switch to 4 viewport, and here it is. These are the 4 viewports. So here we can see our drawing in front, left, top, and trimetric view, and all of these are basically different views of the same drawing. These views are also linked. As you can see, we have the link icon, and if you change the view of any of these viewports, just select the viewport, change it, it will affect the other one as well because they are linked. You can also resize these viewports if you want to, using these lines. And if you want to switch back to the default, select the viewport which you want to activate. So in this case, I want to make this as the default. I'll select it, and I'll go to this one, and I'll just select this single view. So that's our default now. You can also change the view orientation. So currently we had the drawing in the trimetric view orientation. You can change that to isometric or dimetric as well as trimetric from these options. So right here we have isometric, then we have here dimetric, and then we have trimetric. Now in this case, you may not find big difference between any of these views, and that's why I've added this illustration to explain the differences between isometric, dimetric, and trimetric views. So once again, let's go back to this, and I'll maybe switch to isometric, and I'll keep it isometric view. Now we have an option here called normal to, and this is one of the options that you may end up using very frequently. So the normal to option will basically make your view normal to the view direction. So I'll just orbit my drawing to explain this, and maybe I'll just move it very close to this, but as you can see, it is not completely oriented to this direction. It is very close but not fully oriented. So I'll just move it kind of like this, and I'll click on normal to, and this will orient it properly. Similarly, if I just move it here, again, it may look like it is properly oriented, but it isn't. So I'll just maybe move it kind of like this, and I'll go to normal to, and once again it will make that plane normal to our view direction. Now you can also select a plane to do that. So in this case, I'll select this plane, and I'll go to this one, and I'll select normal to, and that plane will become normal to our view direction. So that's the normal to option. It's pretty useful and we use it very frequently. So I'll just add that normal to option somewhere on the heads up toolbar. To do that, I'll right click and I'll select customize. So this customize option will show up. Alternatively, you can go to this gear icon, click this arrow and select customize. From here, go to commands, scroll down, go to standard view, and here we have the normal to option. Select, drag it and drop it, and that's going to add it here permanently. You can also add all of these commands and actually any command from this list anywhere on the heads up toolbar or also on the command manager. For example, in this case, I'll go to curves and I'll add the split line option. So I'll just select it, drag it and drop it. So we have the split line added here now. If you want to remove it, select and drag it outside. Again, for this one, select, drag it outside, it will be removed. But we do want to keep that. So I'll go to standard view and I'll drag it here. And I'll click OK because I want to keep it permanently. And these were the view and visual style settings.